The 1970s and 1980s brought rise to many Hollywood celebrities who became major stars. And among them was Kristy McNichol, was a beloved figure during that time. But her sudden disappearance from the spotlight left many fans wondering what had happened. It turns out that she quietly retired from acting over 2 decades ago. Now, Kristy McNichol has opened up about what led to her stepping away from the industry, and she has another meaningful reason for resurfacing today. Christina Ann McNichol was born on September 11, 1962, to James and Carolyn McNichol. Was the middle child in a family of 3 siblings, the younger brother named Tommy, and an older brother, Jimmy, who often acted alongside her. Their father worked as a carpenter, while their mother took on various jobs to support the family, especially after their father left when the children were still young. Caroline worked as a secretary, a cosmetic salesperson, even took background roles in films to make ends meet. From a young age, McNichol was involved in acting, often appearing in commercials with her brother Jimmy. Her early television work included guest appearances on shows like Starsky and Hutch, The Bionic Woman, and Love, American Style. Her first major role as a series regular came in 1974 with the family drama Apple's Way. Her big break arrived when she was cast as Letitia Buddy Lawrence in the television drama Family, which ran from 1976 to 1980. The show, spanning 86 episodes, centered around a middle-class couple raising their 3 children in California, depicting the everyday challenges and emotional struggles of family life. McNichol's talent and charm quickly made her a standout on the show, setting the stage for a highly successful career. The show's ability to portray everyday life in a realistic and relatable way helped to connect deeply with audiences. It one of the most popular series of its time. Kristy McNichol particularly enjoyed playing the role of Buddy, even telling the Daily Journal that the character reflected her own personality, and that she had essentially turned Buddy into a version of herself. Despite being the newcomer in a cast that included established talents like James Broderick and Sada Thompson, McNichol held her own and earned widespread recognition for her performance. She was nominated for Best Supporting Actress in a Drama series 3 years in a row, from 1977 to 1979. In 1980, she received a nomination for Outstanding Lead Actress in a Drama Series at the Emmy Awards. From there, her career gained momentum. She participated in a number of projects, including the 1977 TV special, The Carpenters at Christmas, where she performed alongside the iconic music duo. In 1978, she and her brother Jimmy took a swing at the music industry, releasing an album titled Kristy and Jimmy McNichol under RCA Records. The album featured songs like He's So Fine and Page by Page. With the latter climbing the Billboard charts, McNichol's film career started to take shape as well. Although her scenes in the 1977 thriller Black Sunday were ultimately cut, she landed another role soon after in the 1978 black comedy The End, starring alongside Burt Reynolds and Sally Field. One of her most acclaimed performances came in the 1980 coming-of-age film Little Darlings, where she played Angel Bright and acted opposite Tatum O'Neal, Cynthia Nixon, and Matt Dillon. Critics praised her performance, solidifying her reputation as a serious talent. That same year, she also starred in The Night the Lights Went Out in Georgia, earning a 6-figure salary on impressive, a rare achievement for a teenage actress at the time. With a growing list of accomplishments and a seemingly unstoppable career, it appeared Kristy McNichol had a bright future ahead. But just when the public expected her to keep climbing, she stepped away from the spotlight, leaving fans to wonder what had happened. As glamorous as Hollywood can be, it often hides the difficult realities that many actors, especially child stars, face. McNichol was no exception. She endured significant stress and emotional strain that she didn't fully understand until much later. Being constantly in the public eye from such a young age brought intense pressure, and the high expectations placed on her added to the weight she carried. Beyond the professional demands, she also struggled privately with her sexuality during a time when acceptance and support for the LGBTQ+ community were far more limited than they are today. In a 1989 interview with People magazine, McNichol opened up about the personal battles that had affected her mental and emotional well-being, spoke openly for the first time about what her life had been like after family ended. She addressed the darker side of Hollywood, revealing a traumatic experience that occurred when she was still a teenager. During an interview with People, McNichol shared that she had been called to a director's trailer during a lunch break, expecting a routine meeting. Instead, she was met with an unwanted advance that left her shocked and hurt. She remembered how the director suddenly put his arms around her and tried to pull her in close. "I thought he was a friend," she said, "someone I trusted. I couldn't believe it. I was young, but not so naive. I told him to get his hands off me and left his trailer right away." Oh. Although she managed to escape the situation, the emotional impact lingered. The incident made her question not only the people around her, but the entire industry and her place in it. She started to reflect on her life and career in ways she hadn't before, and she didn't like the answers she was coming to. That moment became a catalyst for a downward spiral that would eventually affect both her mental health and her career. In 1984, she starred as the lead in the comedy drama Just the Way You Are, playing a handicapped musician who hides her leg brace while vacationing in the French Alps. The role had its own emotional weight. Owls! And the timing couldn't have been worse for McNichol, who was already struggling with deep self-doubt and depression. These feelings had started 2 years earlier, in 1982, and when she was about to fly to Europe for the film's production. At the airport, she confided in her manager, expressing in a shaky voice that she didn't feel right about doing the movie. But the team around her insisted they'd get through it and pushed ahead. Looking back, McNichol recalled that no one really saw her as a young person in crisis. Despite her pleas, she felt unheard, which only added to her confusion and pain. She later described herself as deeply depressed and full of anxiety, barely hanging on while trying to perform on set. The film was directed by Eduard Molinaro, who spoke only broken English, adding to the challenges she faced. For 5 grueling weeks she pushed through the shoot, while the crew did what they could to support her, including hiring a masseuse to help ease her anxiety. They didn't truly understand what she was going through. What made McNichol so remarkable during this time was her ability to perform flawlessly despite her inner turmoil. She shared with People that the moment the director called roll, she could summon just enough energy to give a strong performance. But as soon as they called cut, she would crash mentally and emotionally, unraveling in silence, completely drained, reverting to her anxious, distressed self the moment the cameras stopped rolling. She later described herself as a sad little lost animal in the darkness, a reflection of just how overwhelmed she felt. Despite her worsening mental health, filming continued, only compounding her troubles. She recalled feeling completely out of control during production, to the point where she couldn't eat or sleep. While filming in France, she experienced intense bouts of insomnia. And even when she managed to sleep, her dreams were strange and disturbing. She cried constantly and lived in a near-constant state of fear and confusion. Her physical health began to deteriorate alongside her mental state. Her weight dropped drastically to just 96 pounds, a result of non-stop anxiety and emotional breakdowns. Her body would shake uncontrollably, and if she wasn't crying, she was panicking or lost in a fog of confusion. She later said that filming Just the Way You Are was the hardest thing she had ever done. Eventually, she found some relief when a 2-week Christmas break allowed her to return to California. Once back home, she confided in a friend, asking what she should do. That friend took her to see a psychiatrist who specialized in working with emotionally struggling teenagers. During her first sessions, the psychiatrist observed that McNichol was holding a tremendous amount of anger and emotional pain, more than she even realized. He reassured her that what she was experiencing was not abnormal, which brought her a rare sense of comfort. She said it was the first time someone had told her that what she was feeling was okay. The psychiatrist advised that she should not return to the film set in her current condition. For the first time in her life, McNichol made the decision to say no. She refused to return to work at least not immediately. She eventually went back to finish the film a year later, but by then, the rumor mill was in full swing. People began speculating about her absence, with some claiming she was a drug addict, others labeling her an alcoholic, and still more, insisting she was manic-depressive. The studio didn't help much. Through intensive psychotherapy, which helped her dig deep into the roots of her subconscious anger and emotional collapse. McNichol described therapy as a surreal and unsettling experience like being in a dream. It felt strange and scary, but it helped her confront the painful truth. She'd been forced to grow up far too early. This premature adulthood stemmed from her childhood, particularly after her parents divorced. Her mother, determined to find success in show business for her children, managed both Jimmy and Kristy's budding careers. McNichol explained that her relationship with her mother felt reversed. She often played the role of the adult, while her mother took on a more childlike role. Kristy was the one who kept the house clean, stayed composed, and carried the emotional weight of the household, while everyone else around her remained carefree. That sense of responsibility followed her onto the set of Family, where she embodied the character of Buddy. She later said, "I was like a miniature adult. I'd go off to work every day with a little briefcase. I really think I grew up backward. Most children experience childhood first, then adulthood, but for her it was the other way around." Her co-star Diddy Khan described her the same way, noting that McNichol was the most adult kid she had ever met. Adding to the pressure was McNichol's tendency to overachieve and her deep-seated desire to please everyone, especially her mother. Saying no was never an option. Her mother had always dreamed of being an actress, and McNichol couldn't help but feel that her own career was, in many ways, an extension of her mother's unfulfilled ambition. Making her mother happy became a driving force. Even though it took years before she realized she wasn't happy herself, Sada Thompson, who played her mother on Family, once commented on how composed and mature McNichol appeared, seemingly unaffected by the pressure of being a child star. But as she grew older, the cracks began to show. When she turned 18, she began acting out in ways that might seem childish to outsiders, but to her, it was about finally getting the childhood she never had. Instead of stepping into womanhood, she yearned to experience being a kid for the first time. This shift in behavior started affecting her career. Poor business decisions led to financial instability, and her once bright path began to dim as she realized she was falling apart. Just as adulthood approached, a devastating realization later reflected on how painful it was to recognize that many of her struggles might have been avoidable if only she had known more or been allowed more control. When you come to the fact that you could have controlled the whole thing if only you had known it, can be really hard to accept, and it can make you really angry, she admitted. Everything came crashing down at once. The years of rejection, the career highs and lows, the stolen childhood, the broken home, missing out on school and prom, and constantly being told what to do with no voice of her own. She said people assumed she must have been on drugs, but insisted that even without substances, the weight of everything she endured was more than enough to make anyone break. Thankfully, she did manage to bounce back. Kristy McNichol eventually decided to take her life in a new direction and try something different. She had already been through enough emotional turmoil and dramatic roles. So when the opportunity to join the comedy Empty Nest came along, she saw it as a refreshing change. Before landing the part, however, the studio insisted on an emotional evaluation, fully aware of her past struggles and the reputation that followed her. Paul Witt, one of the show's executive producers, conducted a background check, and everything came back positively. Even after being cleared for the role, McNichol faced another hurdle: her fear of filming in front of a live studio audience. She had never worked on a sitcom before, and the format was completely new to her. Nerves. She managed to hide her fears so well that none of her co-stars had any idea she was struggling during those early episodes. Her performance was strong and convincing, and Empty Nest went on to become a commercial success, putting her name back in the spotlight and opening up more professional opportunities. Still, the pressure of maintaining a public image and managing her ongoing mental health challenges eventually led McNichol to a major decision. In 1992, she stepped away from acting to focus on herself. Nearly a decade later, in 2001, she released a statement through her publicist explaining that it was time to take on her most important role, being herself. "It has been the best thing that ever happened to me," she wrote. She acknowledged that fans might be disappointed by her absence, but emphasized that this personal journey was necessary for her happiness. In being 2012, McNichol made a rare return to the public eye for a deeply personal reason. After Being out of the spotlight for years, she came forward to share that she had been in a committed relationship with her partner Marty Allen for over 2 decades. Her decision to come out publicly was driven by a desire to support young people struggling with their identity, according to her publicist. McNichol was deeply saddened by the stories of kids being bullied for their sexuality and hoped that, by sharing her truth, she could help others feel seen and supported. Although her fans hoped this reappearance meant she might return to acting, McNichol made it clear that she had no intention of going back to film or television. She was content living a quiet, private life outside of Hollywood. Instead, she followed a new passion: music. In 2011, she enrolled in a music program at Los Angeles Valley College and became a member of the school choir. Her dedication extended. Beyond singing, Shay became actively involved in the LAVC Foundation, an organization that helps raise funds to keep the college's music program alive. In a 2015 interview, McNichol expressed how important it was to her that the program never get shut down due to a lack of funding. She believes strongly in the power of music, especially in the lives of young people, and worked tirelessly to support its continuation. Kristy McNichol's journey is one of resilience, transformation, and quiet strength. While she may no longer grace the screen, she continues to make a difference, this time not as a star, but as someone deeply committed to healing, growth, and helping others find their voice.